Good evening. I'm Socrates Garrett, and we're broadcasting live from right here in Jackson, Mississippi, the heart of the Deep South, right here in the African-American-owned broadcasting studio. WeBelieveDigital.com, our own platform. And so it's critically important that in the African-American community, we control the narrative. I look forward to receiving opportunities to show and advertise your products for goods and services and to move your brand along in this community. We're broadcasting live on Facebook. When We Believe Digital Podcast, go to Roku and download our app, and We Believe Global, with shows like this to bring articulate, intelligent conversations and dialogue to our platform. So I'm here to continue sounding the alarm. This is how the South is going to rise again. Good evening, and welcome to a special edition of Socrates Garrett Live. We're broadcasting live from right here in Jackson, Mississippi, in the heart of the Deep South, where it's 103 degrees out there. You can burn your skin. You have to make sure that you're putting on sunscreen and that you're wearing sleeves. And if I had an old-fashioned bonnet, I'd put it on. It's so hot out there. We're not accustomed to this kind of heat in Mississippi, even back in the days when we were picking cotton and on the farm. It's hot in Mississippi. Now, this is a special edition of our show, but we're broadcasting live on Facebook, on Roku TV, on WeBelieveDigital.com, and YouTube. Now, if you're watching us on Facebook, share this program with your friends and family. If you're watching us on YouTube, go on and subscribe to the program. We're in the middle of a subscription extravaganza. We want you to subscribe to the program. We need your help there. Now, if you're watching us on WeBelieveDigital.com, hit the donate button. Send us some funds to help us keep this program on air. Now, WeBelieveDigital.com is a little bit different. You'll see there that we have 8 to 10 various categories that you can choose to watch shows that you enjoy at a time that you want to watch them. You'll no longer have to worry about catching the news at a 6 and 8 or 6 and 10. You can watch these shows whenever you get ready to. Now, if you scroll down to Inspiration, you'll see one of my guests here today, Bishop Ronnie Crudup. You'll see the marvelous work that he's doing at New Horizon. If you go over there to Sports, you will see Katina Rankin's show with Coach Struthers and the wonderful job that they're doing. And if you scroll down a little further, you'll see We Believe Digital Radio. That's right. We have our own internet radio station that's playing music all over the world, 24 hours a day. So we're a little bit different. We're not just a page. We are, in fact, a network. We're going to get right into our show because it is critically important that we bring our viewers and our listeners out there information that they can't get anywhere else. So today's program, of course, is dedicated to J.R. Jones, a gentleman that I've known now for 35 years or more, a guy that's always breaking things that are new, a guy that's traveling all over the world, is doing business all over the world, and has tremendous ideas on where we're going to be in the arena of finance. And so we're going to be talking about that a little bit later on. My other guest is my bishop, Bishop Ronnie Crudup. Now, again, we're talking about people that are not local. Now, I've gotten calls from Bishop Crudup, and he was all the way over in Israel. He's in Africa. He's all over the world. He serves with a group of people that deal with the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians. You know, that kind of person. He's probably the most prominent minister in this region here today, notwithstanding the other great preachers that I have already angered by this statement. But that's okay. So let's get right into it. J.R. Jones.
Yes, sir.
Tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself, where you've been, what you're doing, what's on your mind.
Well, it seems like Socrates, like Bishop, I've been all over the world, but probably just in my mind. Been in a few countries and actually have been to Israel and lived out there and in Jerusalem and places like that. But as always, you know what's on my mind is far-reaching economics. I'm just a firm believer in the fact that especially as relate to our people, African Americans, economics is a key important to building communities. Here with the bishop, and one thing I love about the bishop, and you're absolutely right. First, foremost, a mentor to us all, but here's a man that is deeply rooted into the spirituality and religion and God and teaching that, but also truly believe in the fact that you also must feed a man's belly before you can get to his mind. Him and I have had many components and talks about economics and the things we want to talk about today. So I've been around in Jackson, like you said, quite a while. We've known each other for over 35 years. My background's business, banking, finance, economics. My education at the University of Mississippi is business, finance, and economics, and have worked in institutions like American Express and banking here locally, and have traveled and taught financial planning, CFP by trade, Certified Financial Planner. So I like that field, but I also know where the lack of inclusion has been for black people in our community, which is economics, which is finance more specifically, which is a movement of money and being able to create wealth. As we look at where we need to go, that wealth gap has to be closed, because it not only means that to our community, what belongs to our community also belongs to this country. Again, I'm always very pleased to be here again with you, and hopefully as we go forward, I'll be listening to one of those little names down there with my own podcast.
No, you will
on your show here. So.
You will. With that in keeping, why don't you introduce our next speaker?
Well, our next speaker, as you stated, is a man nobody need to be told who he is, because he is who he is, and that's our great friend Bishop Crudup here. New Horizon Church, you see that big, beautiful building on the hill where he's taken and turned into an international forum for everybody to be able to come. And I was out there a couple of weeks ago, man, and watching, and I get passionate, so I'm watching young folks come in there with speech and integrity and just credence, and you can see the love and respect that they have from him and he have for them, man. So again, audience, here's a man need no introduction by nobody, our great friend Bishop Ronnie Crudup.
Well, I'll pay you guys a little later on for those nice words, but it's exciting to be back here on We Believe again, and just excited to team up always with Socrates Garrett and JR, who is, I haven't known him quite as long as Sock, but I've known him 30 years, okay?
There you go.
And to be here talking about something that's a passion of my heart, how we can really help our people to rise up economically, because I don't know about you, I'm kind of like Fannie Lou Hamer in this. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of everybody taking advantage of us, making billions off of us, and we're not taking advantage of these circumstances ourselves.
Absolutely.
And I'm a person, and all of us should be somebody who is an avid reader and watcher of trends and all those things, and I've been looking at a lot of the new things around AI, artificial intelligence, and I was reading something today that said that one speech caused, and I'm not going to call some names, but if I called them, you would know them, they're worth to go up $200 billion, just one speech related to AI. Now, that's just whole nother realm of doing things that we're going to end up being taken in.
Yes, sir.
We're not going to, probably unless something significant changes, we're not going to be able to take advantage of things the way we should. We will be taken advantage of. We won't be victors. We'll be victims. But we as a community have to decide that we're going to start taking advantage of our opportunities, and that means that we've got to take some risk.
Yes.
Okay? We've got to take some risk.
Yes.
And we got to do things differently. Once again, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing the same way, and then thinking you're going to get a different result. It doesn't happen. Okay?
Yeah.
And so I'm excited here, always excited to be here on We Believe and talk about these things, because if we can get, another 10 or 20 or 100 folk to come to the light, then it's all worth it.
Absolutely.
JR, Bishop talked to me about crypto once, and he told me that it's something that I need to take a look at and understand. And you've spoken to me about alternative currencies and things of that nature. Kind of explain to our viewers what is going on out here when it comes to currency and what it looks like today versus where it'll be tomorrow.
Well, tremendously different than it even looked 10, 15 years ago. Our money is what you call fiat, which is a physical money called fiat. It's what we have and what we're used to having. And, even watching now from the time we've seen, money shifted from just having it in your hands to being able to have it on credit cards, not to be able to move your phone. One of the biggest aspects of it is won't call him a competitor of mine, has been we're looking at fintech banking, but Cash App that our community, that Bishop just got through talking about, that our community tremendously used to. They never see the cash, they never put the paper, they just moving money via the internet, via the app, and cyber, if you will. And so that same aspect of they're excited about Cash App. Now, when the last time who owns Cash App and puts some money in your community? So that's that moving of money that folks taking advantage of. So what does it look like in the future with crypto being on blockchain is that we're going to see more and more of that now. Over the last 5 years, we saw crypto skyrocket. You sort of have the quietness of it because of a lot of cryptos have so depressed and crashed. Well, it's like everything else. When you get a lot of new stuff start going real fast, you get a lot of bad actors in there. So I figured out a way to get in there and steal it and take it and sell it to people. Unfortunately, a lot of time our communities and taking it away.
Well, so let me ask you a question, Bishop. I'll ask you too. Traditionally, the U.S. dollar is supposed to be backed by gold originally. Now,
Right.
I doubt very seriously it's backed by gold today, but
It's not.
So what is it backed by?
Good old, as we say, what they said on a dollar bill, faith, fair of the good old U.S. government.
Wow. And so I could never understand crypto because there was no bank that I saw anywhere, and it seemed to be backed by anything. I couldn't tell how it was traded and who was buying and what they're selling it, and I didn't know if I could walk in the door with some crypto and buy something. So I just don't really understand how this financial thing works.
I think so. Part of it, and JR is that guy. It's not what is it, why is it? All of us are used to dollars, right? And cents. Why do you even need crypto, JR? Why are we having conversations? Why are people using an alternative to the dollar?
The biggest bargain is two things: the cost and the potential equality or equal playing field of inclusivity. Okay, so the cost is nil. You're moving money through the internet, which really doesn't cost money, to move ledgers, because you're talking about a blockchain, you're talking about ledgers, so you're talking about numbers on a page, if you will. So think about how money really have moved in with the Federal Reserves. I put money on the page and debit this column, I put money on the page and credit that column. Same thing we just said about Cash App, and you never see it. You use your credit card to move money. Your bank account, once it hit, it goes through the channels of the processing piece. It goes to another guy, and you never really see it. You don't move it yourself.
So it's faith and credit.
So it's faith and credit, but with crypto, you're talking about money's on a blockchain level. So you're talking about a computerization of moving numbers around, where yours is yours and mine is mine, and yours don't necessarily cross mine, and I don't control yours and you don't control mine. So now you once it grows to the point where all of us are using crypto. Now I can go and buy water with crypto because the store will take crypto. So it's a matter of time. It's just a matter of fraction of time where that it may be called something else by then.
So how does this conflict with the U.S. government and it's the way currency is handled now? Is the government, is this to the government like solar was to traditional energy companies?
Is it a concern for the government?
How do they see this? And how does the third world see this as well? Because I understand that they have a different currency over there in the EU over there. And so what's going on here? Are we seeing things change?
Yeah, it is. When you start seeing some of the large banks and the large financial institutions and the large companies start to dab and jump into crypto, if you will, using that blockchain terminology, then you begin to know that it's some validity in it because they invest a lot of money in it. The biggest, and I wouldn't call it a threat, but the biggest challenge for the Federal Reserve is going to be for the U.S. government, which is our financial system, pretty much worldwide controlled by the Federal Reserve, is that the movement of that money outside of this federal system. Right now, what a lot of people don't know is that any money moved in the world previously was moved by our system. The Federal Reserve System is just not belong to the U.S., controlled by the U.S., but it's worldwide. So when you start moving money internationally, it was moved under the federal system.
Wow.
So now you can begin to move money outside of that system. So two things happen. Is one, you're going to have legitimate players, and two, you're going to have illegitimate players. Because now, as that system began to grow and expand, guy running drugs money or whatever else, now he can begin to move money on that system.
Well, I think before we go to a break, that's the whole issue is that there was a limit to what could have been done just with the dollar.
Right. And control.
Folks decided, let's create another system, right? Remember we used to always say, as soon as we get a little parity, they changed the game.
Yeah.
So in a nice way, the game has been changed again. And it's an international deal. And, there's still supposed to be some value of goods and services, supposed to be in the midst of that. But these folks are creating a whole new game out there, and we haven't learned how to play the one that we've got yet. And that's my problem.
That's your problem. That's my problem for our folks.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to a commercial break, and we're going to come right back for our last segment. This is tremendously important, what we're talking about. Our young folks probably know a little bit more about it than we do. They seem to be into technology and things of that nature more so than we are. And so it's important that we have these kind of informative conversations that's being brought to you by J.R. Jones, a gentleman that this lives and breathes in this environment, educated in this environment. So we're going to a station break, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Looking for the hottest content in the city of Jackson and surrounding areas? Check out WeBelieveDigital.com. Also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We Believe Digital Podcast is here for all your podcasting needs.
The Mississippi Link is an African-American female-owned newspaper with a trusted voice that is highly respected throughout the city, state, and nation. Our motto, Keepers of the Knowledge for People Who Speak the Truth, since 1993. Link significantly influences the thoughts, attitudes, and buying decisions of its readers. Call us at 601-368-8481 for your advertising needs. If you would like to receive a newspaper in the mail each week, our annual subscription is only $52 per year. That is only $1 per week for you to stay informed regarding many stories that you can only get in the Mississippi Link. Sign up today at themississippiLink.com and click on Home Delivery.
Welcome back. You're looking at Socrates Garrett Live. We're broadcasting live from right here in Jackson, Mississippi. We have one real important show going on today. J.R. Jones, a senior financial analyst, is here with us today, and he's talking about different types of currency and how finance works. And so we're going to get right back into that. Now, J.R., I understand you to say that this phone is my new bank.
Yes, sir.
That the future of brick and mortar buildings is in jeopardy. Is that right?
Yeah, it's, yes, I would say they're in jeopardy. Definitely long term, Socrates. And as you can see around here, the closing of some of the branches in the local banks have closed branches. The brick and mortar is definitely going away, and especially the big, beautiful, extravagant banks we used to be able to walk into and all the marble looking like a big law firm, it's going away because it's cost prohibitive.
So Bishop, old folk like me
And me.
and you, this is a new system that's going on out here that, as you say, African Americans are not really grasping and get an understanding of what's happening to them.
Absolutely. And, the scripture says we're destroyed by the lack of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And that is truer today than it was when that was written over, for that part of it, probably 5,000 years ago. What we don't know destroys us. And we don't understand these systems. And so people take advantage of us, okay? And a good example is, and I understand, we've been talking a little bit about crypto, and I know not just that, but a lot of folks out there looking for something that pays a better rate of interest.
Yes, sir.
They think they can do better than what the bank will give them, okay? And so that's kind of what gets a lot of smaller folk out there into some of these crypto games that are being played, because you think that there's the ability to be able to make more money in a shorter period of time, and not just the bank make all this money. Because in the past, the bank took your money, paid you, if you could get 1%, okay, and they made, 10, 12, 20% on your money, okay, all that money. There's a reason why they had them big nice
big buildings,
Yeah.
because they're making interest on your money. Well, people at least have wised up to some degree that I need to get a piece of that. The only concern now with all of this crypto and other currencies is that it's not controlled, and it can be up one day. And listen, the those can be not those ain't locked. They gone somewhere else. Okay,
That's
next,
right.
and so it's back to something I said at the beginning. It's the issue of risk. Everything takes a risk, but there's a safe risk, a good probable risk, and then there's just foolishness. Okay, and so particularly in our community, once again, one of the things that we've been talking about with JR about is that there are some tools that he is in possession of now that it has risk with it, but the probability of its working is really well, and it will bring a lot to our people. One of my concerns, it'll bring a lot to our churches, it'll bring a lot to our people. And so we got to wise up and start at least talking about it. To a great degree, sometimes I think folks haven't even been willing to talk about things. Well, we always done things this way. Everything is changing. I mean, the pandemic showed just the fallacy of some things and how much change could happen. Banks saw, I didn't need all these brick and mortar. I just run folk through them lines, you know what I mean?
Yes,
And in South Jackson, where I do most of our work, it's sad how many banks have closed up in South Jackson. And so, I'm at this place now. I was talking to some folks in the bank the other day, say, hey, am I going to have to just go to North Jackson, or hope I'll have to go to Rankin, Madison County, to do any banking, because everything else is on your phone. Now, the truth is, I can deposit money off of my phone, right?
Yes, sir.
I can if people can send me money, I don't really have to go to a bank.
Wow. Well, let me ask you this, because
Absolutely.
you guys are educating us now. Back in the day, we didn't have banks in our community.
Right.
You know, we had a barter system.
Some still don't.
Yeah, you know, I will trade you 5 potatoes for 10 onions, and it worked.
That's right.
And so, is crypto akin to the barter system? How do you see that?
Yeah, well, yeah, simplicity, yes. Just in a high-tech format, it really is. Is hey, look, I have some coins worth this. You got some coins worth that. You got a value of goods over that you say you want that much. So I'm gonna give you some of my coins for your value of goods.
And so it's back on the old original system, but now you're taking it into new technology. And you keep mentioning this word blockchain.
Yeah.
Now, our people don't understand what blockchain is, and what is it?
It's just a simple accounting ledger. And actually, you know, the words crypto been given to the different coins that's out there. Blockchain is actually the accounting ledger that has been used throughout forevermore. Now, we've been dealing with accounting ledgers and technology and goods and services and everything. I mean, so blockchain's been out there for a while, because that's how money is still have always been moving. And for instance, you know, you ever thought about, you go to Western Union and you're sending money overseas, and in 5 seconds they got the money after they give you information? You know, you ever thought about that? You ever thought about all these folks who goes into Walmart or somebody and get these cash cards and put money on them right then and there, and then they walk out and can use them? You know, all that money is pretty much like all of money have been in goods and services. Say, okay, I got this ledger somewhere sitting out there on the Federal Reserve, and they got this ledger over here sitting in another bank and processing system on the Federal Reserve. Okay, let's move this ledger to a debit side. Let's move this ledger to a credit side, and the deal is done.
Wow.
So it's the same thing that blockchain has been used. Now they've been moving it to strictly move what we see as a goods and services on a financial aspect of the dollar versus products and services.
And some have said that blockchain cuts out the middleman.
Completely. You know, in banking processing, but in credit card processing, you could have, like, even with our program, you could have about 4 or 5 people in the middle of that thing, if you will. So when you go and swipe your credit card at the merchant, it goes to a processor who moves and reads the language to the acquirer, which is your bank, taken from the issuer, which is the other guy's bank. So all those folks are inside of that. So everybody got to get a penny of that transaction. Now, if you use a Visa wants its share. So now you got the Visa, the store you bought it at, the bank you taking the money from, the bank you send it to, and the guy who's the processor who's making all this happen.
And so, I'm paying for all that as a consumer.
Yeah, the merchants are paying for that as a consumer. So what blockchain do is say, well, wait a minute here. If it sits over here and it sits over there, just send it. Move everybody else out of the way.
Wow.
You know?
And in reality, that should mean more money to the people who are actually producing the products. Rather than because historically the people, the farmers, always get the lowest amount of return on their initial investment, all of their hard work.
That's a good example. From the especially, I was at a conference just yesterday put on by Department of Commerce dealing with, and they had the African Nation Summit and people over here and a lot of the farmers, just pretty much that. Well, the farmers are way down here, and you got all these levels before they get to the market that they're buying from the farmers.
Right.
And now what? You know, even the electronics, but even the electronic transfer of money now allow farmers to be able to buy goods and services directly without having to go through all these links and chains.
Right. We're getting close to the end of our program, and we want to go and deal with specifically a new opportunity.
Yes.
Now, not long ago, several weeks ago, Bishop convened a meeting at New Horizon Church, and it had some 114 African-American pastors who were in attendance, the first time in history that anything like this has been done or even had been attempted to bring that many pastors together. And at that conference, J.R. Jones had an an opportunity to present a new card, and we like to think that what we want to do is repurpose our dollars in our African American community. No new money, just the money that you're currently spending. Let's spend it in a way that it benefits all of us. Bishop, can you bring us up to date a little bit about your conference, why you had it, and what your vision was?
Well, our vision was to come together and unify ourselves for the good of a common good of our people. We've been divided too long. All of us are doing our own thing in our little corner, but that thing is costing us something. But if we can come together, then all of us benefit individually, but the community benefits even more. And so part of that was to make people aware of some tremendous opportunities, and one of them is financial opportunities. Mm-hmm. And so we invited J.R. Jones as one of those participants in this to talk about some tools that he's got that our people can benefit from. And so that's what this was about.
J.R., tell us a little bit more about those tools.
Yes, sir. We created through our CDFI Small Business Capital Fund a program called the Accountable Card Banking Program, and it's a neobank. And all a neobank is a bank without borders, a bank without brick and mortars, a bank where that you use a license of an FDIC insured bank opponent to create banking online, if you will. But we want to step further and create a banking app so they can be on the phone. Everybody can't get online, but everybody got a phone or two. So they can do their total banking aspects on the phone. Now, as a community development financial institution, we also wanted to be able to have a program that we can run and be able to give back to the community. So we call that program Accountable Card for that reason, because we got to be accountable, and we're going to be in commerce and taking money out of the community, if you will, and we want the individual to be also accountable for their own financial welfare. Because if we don't take care of our community, who will? So as you said, when people begin to reposition or repurpose their money like they should to do what's good in the community, because we will do a revenue share program that the bishop and I have talked about, so that individuals who are part of our program, a part of that portion of that revenue, will go back to the church programs to be able to do things in our community, because we need to rebuild our community. Our focus on our community has been social welfare and everything else but economic welfare. So it's time to get to the economic welfare, which really builds your community. You can't build a community until you begin to have the money wherewithal to do that and point it back into your community. At this day and time, the statistics are still showing that African Americans' dollar still circulate in this community less than 0.5% of the time. Well, the average one in most other communities is 7 to 11% of the time. So we got to get the dollars recirculating back. And as Bishop was saying, that it has nothing to do with race, that has nothing to do with prejudice. This is just pure facts of you must take care of your home first and your own first before you can go out into the large and make things happen in a large kind of way. And that's what this program, this money thing is about. So,
okay. Well,
AccountableCard.com.
Do you have a copy of the card? Can you hold the card up?
Yes,
Can
sir.
anybody see it? And what do you want our viewers and listeners to do? JR, do you want them to apply for this card? How do you want that to happen?
Absolutely. When Bishop and I was talking about working towards churches, and Bishop educated us well when he said, look, you need to be simple and plain. Ask for simplicity and plainness. Let them know. So, we talked about, and I'm going to use this scenario. Say, look, just go out there, and like you said, we repurpose them. Just go out there, get the card, and just spend $100 a month on it every month. Easy, simple, payroll deduction. You can go to your bank, take the routing numbers and your bank account numbers, and tell them, say, hey, look, put $100 a month or $200 a month on my card every month out of my paycheck. And just spend $100 a month. You would be surprised, and we'll be coming back a year from now and tell you how much money went into the community. You'll be surprised what we can do with that.
So how do they go online and where do they go to apply for the card?
Go to your phone, type in Accountable Card, ACCOUTABLE.com, card, C-A-R-D, or just accountable card. Either Apple or Google the app gonna pop up. Download the app. 5 to 10 minutes, put in your information. You can have in a bank account. It'll show you where to get the routing numbers. You can go into it and look at all the things you can do with it. And you get a Visa card sent to the mail within 7 to 10 days. You get a Visa card. You'll be able to use it just like any ATM, anywhere Visa is. You'll be able to use it. Not only that, you'll be able to go into what we call the Green Dot location, which is a network. In other words, you'll be able to go to Kroger, dollar stores, Walmart, and add money to your card. Just hand the clerk your card, say I want to put $100 on my card, and you can go and use it in 10 minutes anywhere Visa is used. So a lot more flexibility.
A lot more flexibility. Your college students, your children that you want to introduce the money and banking to.
Pay bills with it, transfer money between cards from their parents at late at night, at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, the kid needs some money, send them some money on their card. It's instantaneously, because it's just like we said about the blockchain. If it's in the same bank, why I can't give it to you instantaneously? Versus other banks make you wait 2 days for it.
Right. And so this is not a local opportunity. This is national.
This is
anybody
national.
in the world can apply for this card.
Yes, sir. Anywhere, anybody in the world, anywhere in the country. With Green Dot, like I said, we got over 100,000 locations across the country where you can put money on your card. If you're out there with a bunch of cash, you win money to casinos and you don't want to go home with it, walk into Walmart and put it onto your card and spend it like you need to.
We're coming to the end of our program, but we're going to continue these sessions. It's tremendously important that we learn, and then that we share and teach those that are interested how to make a difference in your financial life. Economics is critically important. And to the young man out there that just won the $1 billion lottery last night,
come see us.
JR says, come see us and apply for the card, and you'll have the opportunity to invest in something that is going to surely take this country by storm.
Yes,
already has.
Yeah,
already is being done. This is your new bank.
Yes, sir.
This is your new bank. You can add money, pay bills, do everything you want to do with this accountable card. Go to accountablecard.com. Download the card, and you'll get it immediately, and you put $100 a month on it just to see exactly how it works, and let's see what happens. Then next time we want you to call into our show at 800-492-5186 and tell us how you're using the card. JR, any parting words? You and Bishop, any parting words before we go?
Go ahead, Bishop.
This is an opportunity. Hey, JR has got his hands on something good. Let's partner with him. Let's help ourselves and the community.
Absolutely. In conjunction with that, as they say, let's change the world one accountable card at a time.
That's it. We want y'all to stay safe out there, and good evening.